if you're not upholding your brand reputation, if you're not the go-to solution, right? This market will eat you up.
You have to adapt or die. It's like, my product is amazing. I have 300 videos, 99 group calls a week. Why are my clients not getting value?
Welcome to the Ethical Scaling Podcast, your guide to navigating online business with integrity. Join Jay and Ben on this epic journey. Whether you're a seasoned pro or new to the game, get ready for insights, strategies, and a dash of humor. So grab your favorite beverage, cozy up in your favorite spot, and get ready to deep dive into the art and science of ethical scaling. From client success to boosting lifetime value. Plus, learn how to turn clients into your best advocates. Ready to scale ethically? Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Ethical Scaling Podcast. Today, we're going to dive into how Jay is much smarter than me. Actually, what we're going to do is talk about the future of the high-ticket online space. So, Jay, you want to kind of paint a picture, tell these guys a little bit about why we're going to dive into that?
Well, I don't know if we start there. You want to use my head as a crystal ball to try to find what's going to happen in the future. Being a little bit more serious, we get that question a lot. So people that we know, even existing clients, they would say, hey, you guys see so many of these businesses from the inside. What's going to happen? Well, we don't know. Being honest, we don't know. But I think probably one of my best skills is pattern recognition. And I look at things and I'm able to connect the dots and see where things are going. I don't know where things are going to be, but at least I see where they're going. And we know that things are changing really fast at the moment. So if you look at our industry, it's brand new compared with other industries. And there is a lot going on at the moment. And that's normal from a marketing perspective. There are different levels of sophistication. And the market is now much more sophisticated compared where the market was a few years ago. There are economic changes happening, a potential recession, purchasing power, consumer behavior, all of that affects how companies operate from a marketing and sales perspective. But even as a consumer, your own behavior, when you buy something and you become a client, things are changing as well. What people want and what companies can deliver, there needs to be a match. And I think that's the biggest change that will need to happen over the next few years, if you will. And when I say that, it's typically based on what's value. What are we giving our clients? What's the value we're giving our clients? Because if you say, oh, I have a high ticket online business, I'm selling high ticket services. It could be a coach, a consultant, an agency. What does it mean? It means that it's priced higher than the common purchase, but is the perceived value higher than the common purchase? Does your service feel like a luxury for your clients? Because that's why some brands are able to charge more than the others, because there is a perceived value. There is a level of luxury that the clients are getting access to. And again, we can talk about what luxury means.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, what do you see? Because, you use Nespresso, right? That example. Like, what is it that they do that makes it feel like a luxury experience?
So I think, first of all, it's reliability. And when I say reliability, is being able to meet expectations over and over again. Is it the best coffee in the world? It is not. I can tell it's not the best coffee in the world, but it's good enough, and it's always good. So being reliable enough to meet expectations enough times. So when you look at your service and you want to copy that, are we meeting most of our clients' expectations? That's first. That's the reliability. And am I able to meet expectations at all?
Well, and it's like, to dig into the psychology a little bit, right? As humans, there's so much that's unpredictable, right? Like, everything's always changing. The environment, politics, everything, our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions. And so when we can find something like a brand like Nespresso, where we know no matter where in the world we are, if I buy a Nespresso, it's going to taste the same.
That's the thing.
So what does that do? That predictability lowers our anxiety a little bit.
A lot. And that's what most clients want as a client. But second, I think it's the perception of effort. You know, how easy it is for me to grab a pod and get a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There is no cleaning, no washing. No, well, you should wash your cup after you drink, but up to you. I'm not setting the rules here, but it's very, very basic and very, very simple. But if people might say, yeah, but a pod costs 50 cents. It's very cheap. No, it's not. Just look at how many grams are inside a pod, run the numbers, and I think it costs 15 times more compared with you just buying the coffee powder and brew it yourself.
Yeah.
So it's not cheaper, but it's easier
Yeah.
from an effort standpoint.
Well, I'll give a personal example, right? So, I have a Ford F-150,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I had, a few years ago, I had like the kind of entry level, whatever, XLT, I think it was called. And I loved it, or it was my first pickup truck. And then, when it was time to trade that in, I was like, you know what? I'm going to step up a couple notches. So I started looking at the Platinum, right? Which is, I don't know if it's their top of the line, but it's a luxury truck. And I love that truck. Like you hear me, every time I get in that truck, I love it. But something I've noticed lately in the cold weather, things like mechanical things are starting to go wrong. I'll get in, my seat won't adjust, or the headlights will stay on when they're supposed to shut off. And so I still love the truck, but I'm like, this isn't as reliable. Do I want to start looking at another brand? Do I want to go look at a GMC,
You stop being loyal.
Yeah.
Loyalty is the word, because loyalty will drive all the things we want. Loyalty will create more opportunities for referrals, you buying more from the same brand. So maybe you buy a truck for you, another truck for your wife, or a van for your wife, same brand. It might mean, word of mouth. You spread good things about the brand. And people forget how loyalty, it's probably one of the most important things for you to spread the word about your reliability, if you will. But there is more. Again, people might say, cool, we know that you love your Ford, your truck. I know that, Jay, you love Nespresso, but how can we use the same concepts, apply to our business to be ahead of the game, to be able to set our offer for success now that things are changing? And one of the things I talk a lot about when I meet with clients and we're at events, it's how do we perceive value as humans? Yeah. Most business owners in our space, because it's brand new and we get a lot of young people or people are just new to the space, people tend to over-focus on the intrinsic value of something. It's like, my product is amazing. I have 300 videos, 99 group calls a week. Why are my clients not getting value? Because intrinsic value is just a small part of the equation. You have intrinsic value, but without the right context, that value might not be useful. Secondly, consumption. If you don't consume the product or the service, perceived value is zero. And you know where I'm going with this example. You go to an amazing restaurant, they have a Michelin star chef, they're going to cook an amazing meal for you. Intrinsic value is there, but the restaurant is really loud. Is the context right for you to enjoy that amazing 5-star meal? No. You have your kids with you and they're acting like crazy that day, so you cannot have your meal because you get distracted the whole time or you just ate a little bit. Consumption, very little. How are you going to rate your perceived value from that experience?
Not good.
At least it's not the maximum it could be. Yeah. And I think because people get so stuck thinking like an engineer, and again, you can think about myself. I was an engineer for 10 years, and my biggest breakthrough was when I got to understand how our mind works more than how the systems work. Because systems will have a physical limitation. In psychology, there are no limits for imagination. And I think that's the thing people need to understand. Like, there will be a limit on how good your product can be, but there are no limits on how good it can feel for your client. And when we say context and consumption, the only way to make consumption better and the context better is by focusing on client fulfillment. Because those are going to be the team members. They're going to make sure that your clients consume the product. They have the right context, the right environment. And that's the direction of our space. Clients want more support, more one-on-one, more proximity to the team members. And it's not just because they want hand holding. It's because they want clarity. Yeah. They want the reliability. They want the support. They want to make sure they have the roadmap that will take them from where they are to the North Star, like we call it internally. Everyone will have a North Star, and that's the direction we're going, and they need to make sure someone can behave as a GPS and tell you, Jay, take the next right. Hey, Jay, you missed the right. Take the next left. Someone that can easily reorganize the roadmap if something gets lost. And I think that's what's missing in the space. It's a little bit of a one-size-fits-all. You should go in that direction. I have 300 videos. If you didn't learn from the first, watch the other 299 and you'll be good.
Yeah, well, and I also think there's been this mentality in the space of like not enough resource allocation to fulfillment, right? And owners have been trained to target 80% profit margins. And it's like amazing. If you can run a business that has 80% profit margins, that's great. But in high ticket, what we usually see, if you're doing 60, 70, 80% profits, then you either don't have enough fulfillment team or you're not paying them enough, or both, right? And so that's another thing that has to change. It's like, look, you might need to give up some of that profit to initially, at least.
It's an investment for longevity.
Yeah, yeah. But if you're not upholding your brand reputation, if you're not the go-to solution, right? This market will eat you up.
And we already saw what's happening for some of these big names that everyone thought these guys are going to be around forever. These guys are the best in the game, and they're not here anymore. Why? Because it's Mother Nature, if you want to call it like that. It's natural selection.
Yeah.
You have to adapt or die. And I think for the business we're speaking to now, today, guys, you need to adapt or die. And I think you're not late to anything.
Yeah.
But it's time for you to adapt, because if you still do things like you did in 2018, you're going to be in trouble. Because the market is not the same. The market is dynamic. We're not working with a standing army. We're working with a moving parade, basically.
I'm laughing because people are listening to this, and I'm sure they're going to go tell their friends, hey, you got to hear this podcast where Jay and Ben tell us our business is going to die.
Yeah, Darwin J telling me that we need to focus on natural selection. And I think it's just being like very honest with ourselves as business owners. We had to, even though we didn't change our offer for so long, we had to adapt a lot of things internally, externally, how we package the offer, how we communicate the offer, how people perceive value from our offer.
Yeah, and that was an interesting evolution for us, because for a long time, owners saw us as like nice to have, right? But when we shifted our messaging, it was like, oh, no, I actually have to do that. Yeah, I have to do that now. So that was kind of a side note, but...
So if you want to look at your offer and think about what we're talking about, then you want to find like a common ground on how you can start making some tweaks. And again, if you're a business owner and if you haven't been hiding under a rock for the last few years, you've heard people adding guarantees, bold promises, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to go in that direction. I want to challenge you to think about a couple of other things, like how can I increase perceived value so that I can increase my client life value, increase my cash collections, and increase my profitability. And a couple of things you can think about is like, how is my team structure at the moment? Am I providing those clients, the clients that I work with the right support so I can create that feeling of certainty and that reliability so that we can meet expectations most of the time? How can I play with time? Time is a very important thing. So, and again, people will say, what are you saying here? But it's true. For humans, time doesn't exist. And I think this is one of the biggest breakthroughs for people, and at least for teams we've trained, is when they understand that's true. Time doesn't exist, and it doesn't exist in the human brain. Just look at different languages. Any language in the world would use expressions like, time flies. Or these were the 5 longest minutes of my life. So if time exists, why do we use expressions like that? Because time will expand or contract based on your level of enjoyment or uncertainty. If you're having a lot of fun, time flies. If you feel uncertain about something, time slows down. So think about your clients. If your clients are already impatient about getting results and they feel very uncertain, what's going to happen in their process and system? Wow, this is taking me forever to accomplish what I want to accomplish. So the future of the space will require someone working alongside your clients to increase the level of certainty, which will give them the perception that it was actually much faster for them to go from A to B. That's massive. And the adjustment you need to make is actually tiny. But if you don't make that adjustment, someone will.
Yeah.
And that's when you need to be concerned about competition.
Nice. Awesome. Well, guys, that's it for today's show. Remember, we're talking about the future of high ticket. And, like Jay said, it's really looking at your offer. How is the offer structured? How are we delivering that offer? And are we really meeting those client expectations? So we'll see you guys next time.